everybody, and welcome to Back and Forth. I'm your host, Geckoman, and here's our co-host, RogueGambit, the man who follows the little guy from Brooklyn who is too dumb not to run away from a fight.
I'm with you till the end of the line.
Now that you gave us all the feels, RogueGambit, let's move on to our part 2 of our MCU movie and TV show ranking. We have made it to the top 10. To hear what is outside the top 10, you can listen to our last episode on whatever podcast app you are on right now. Today we will be counting down our top 10. Want to get us started, RogueGambit?
Oh, I would love to get us started. At number 10, we have Captain America, the first Avenger.
Yeah, being the kind of origin story, I actually really enjoyed the movie, other than one scene in the movie, but yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the movie as well. Hence, it is another top 10. It is like origin. I like what you said, like origin story. It is a fabulous origin story.
Oh, yeah.
It shows you the character of Steve Rogers, of course. First, shows you who he is, just on his own, and then it develops that character as he gets the serum, gets stronger. How that character doesn't change, the ways it does change, the way he makes, the decisions that the little guy would make.
Yeah. I love the decisions that he makes, and I also like the friendship he has with Bucky and how much loss he has in that movie.
Yes. The only Howling Commando not to make it home. Sorry. Yeah, Winter Soldier is my favorite MCU character. Sebastian Stan's such a good actor.
He is a good actor.
Yeah, there's not much else I can say about that. But there are other great acting performances, of course, like Hugo Weaving's Red Skull. He is a fabulous villain.
For someone with no powers, he was a fabulous villain.
And then, of course, there was other great acting performances by Artem Zolos, of course, played by Toby Jones, of course. Peggy Carter, Haley Atwell does an amazing job of just like bringing her character to life. And then what do you think of Howard Stark?
I thought he was interesting. Like I liked how he was this guy who was basically he was the Tony Stark making it before becoming Iron Man. Like I think from what I can remember, I liked seeing that. So it was interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what I necessarily think of him. I'm of course not a huge Tony Stark fan, but I of course I've seen the show Peggy Carter as well, and I don't think I ever loved him, but I think I think he does a really good job in this movie. Or I think his character is really well fit in this movie. Tommy Lee Jones as the colonel or whatever. I think he does a great job. Very much like nails that character.
Oh yeah. I just like him in general. I feel like he's a good actor.
And then Alan Silvestri gives us our first score for a Marvel movie, and then he goes on to do many others, of course, but does a fabulous job. I love the Captain America score. I love his theme song, as you might call it. And I really like the kind of like darker theme that they give the Red Skull, almost like an inverted Captain America theme. And the ending, of course, classic Captain America ending.
Oh yeah.
What do you think of the end, that final scene with Captain America in modern times, and him being found and him waking up and all that?
I thought it was pretty good. Like for those who like didn't read the comic or don't know the story of Captain America, I thought it was kind of a good like way of like, oh whoa, we are in a different time.
Yeah, I think like the way they decided to bring him to modern times was really interesting. Of course, bringing Shield up to the forefront right away,
Yeah.
I thought was well done. Um, and then making Nick Fury, who you've already seen in Iron Man's post credit scene, um, bringing him to the forefront was a really good choice. Anything else you have to say about this movie?
Other than actually, no, we already talked about it.
Alrighty, so then let's move on to number 9, and that is the first Avengers movie.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember the first time that I watched this movie?
I actually don't.
All right. Well,
My memory on it's kind of my memory of the first reaction on it.
that's okay. That's okay. It was at your house, um, and I did not like it the first time I watched it.
I do remember you having some kind of like.
It might have not helped that right after that we watched uh, X-Men Origins Wolverine. That movie's terrible. So I might have just kind of put them together in my mind. I'm not sure, but I didn't really like it the first time I watched it. But it is such a good movie. Once again, a great score. Oh my goodness, I love all the like modern esque orchestral music they put to it. I love the Avengers theme. Um, and then yeah, I mean, great acting performances across the board from everybody except for maybe Mark Ruffalo.
Oh, yeah,
As I've said
yeah,
before, I'm not a
yeah.
big Mark Ruffalo fan.
I like it. So I liked it because it was just the first time we see all these heroes that we've watched grow and become what we see now and grow even more. It was our first time seeing them all come together and actually,
Yep,
fight together. It was
brought
amazing.
together by the death of Phil Coulson.
Oh,
Such a great. I really like the way they like put you as the viewer in like the seat of the Avengers, like viewing you kind of in that moment when um Nick Fury is like, telling them the Coulson's dead and like they're all just like sitting there grieving and like the Avengers seem to be torn apart, kind of like the end of the second act, you might say. Or maybe it's the end of the first act. I don't know. Yeah, I don't even want to the first act. When you're like they're at their lowest point, like they do such a good job of putting the viewer in their shoes at that moment, and I I very much enjoyed that storytelling aspect of the movie. Um, and then what do you think of Loki as a villain and Hawkeye's character story arc through it?
I thought it was pretty interesting. As I don't know how I felt about the whole fact that Hawkeye, Loki was forced to, not forced, I guess. Well, I guess he did force him. How Loki just made Hawkeye become a bad guy for a bit, and then Hawkeye is just mad. So like Hawkeye is mad, and then that he was turned, and he's like, if I get to put an arrow in his head, then whatever he says.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the whole thing is where as we don't, I feel like we just don't spend enough time with Hawkeye.
Yeah, I kind of felt in this movie. I'd say its downside is the villain on the villain side and the Hawkeye side, where I don't necessarily think Loki is a bad villain by any stretch. He's a great villain. Tom Hiddleston does an amazing job. He's set up as a very menacing character. He's already been set up in Thor. But where I kind of feel they went wrong is like the motivation and um the of him, of like what the effects of the staff at that time. We knew it just as the staff. We didn't know what was inside it or whatnot.
Yeah.
But like what the effects of it were, why it was causing what it was, and they didn't really go into that. And I feel like it kind of the only lacking part of it was on that side of building up the motivations of the villain, the motivations of uh why why they were turned, why they were everybody was choosing, whether it was Eric Selvig, whether it was Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye, or why they were choosing to do what they did. And so I feel like I mean, like a lot of people hated Hawkeye after that first Avenger. I feel like that's why, is because they didn't go into that side of it. I think they did such a good job on the hero side of bringing them together, tearing them apart, bringing them together, that it doesn't. The movie all in all doesn't struggle, but I mean, I have it at number 9 for a reason. I love it, but I think that is where it kind of falls
Yeah.
short.
I totally agree. Like, I'm a big Hawkeye fan, and I was very sad to see Hawkeye not really be Hawkeye
Mm-hmm.
in it. But as I understand it, from what I understand it as, they were trying to do the way Hawkeye is portrayed in the comics, right? He was portrayed and was thought to be a bad
Yeah,
guy.
I mean, they tried to do a lot of things from the comics, but yeah, like they just did it. They just didn't go into it in depth enough for you to really know what they were trying.
Yeah. So let's
You want to move on?
let's move on. Let's
All
get
right.
off of this for a bit.
All right. Number 8, we have Doctor Strange.
Ah, yes, Doctor
I know
Strange.
you love this movie, so I will let you go first.
So, yeah, I'm a big fan of Doctor Strange.
Should we have put it higher?
Actually, the thing is, the thing is, um, Doctor Strange is a great movie. I love Doctor Strange. The thing is, why I think it is lower is because the time it came out. Just another origin story.
Yeah, I think it definitely struggled where it came out. I think, yeah, like it was an origin story kind of after we felt like all the origin stories were done, in my opinion.
Yeah. So, but yeah, but also we kind of see how he progressed in this, like through the time of when the Avengers happened, when all this happened and stuff like that. They even talked about the Avengers in it. It was kind of nice to see and kind of interesting to see that fast forward and stuff like that.
Do you think that his origin story does him justice?
Oh, and like what when he goodness
I mean, like as Doctor Strange, all the way to becoming Doctor Strange.
ooh so the thing is, the way he is in that movie is so different to how we see him in any other movie. It's
I'm like personality wise.
yeah,
Okay.
like he's a little more jokey in the first one. He's kind of
Oh, you're saying different than any other MCU movie?
yeah.
Oh, I do like that dichotomy they show there, um, where he is originally takes everything a little bit lighthearted, right, and kind of whimsical, um, but then like one event changes everything so much that he now like is becomes so desperate for a cure that he completely loses that, and then once he finds it, he finds the cure, he becomes almost like obsessive about it, and that's what makes him such a great sorcerer, and he uses that, and that what like fuels him later on to like he doesn't really have that whimsical nature. Yes, he still has a little bit of the arrogance and a little bit of the flair, but he doesn't he's so much more serious, and I really like that uh character development choice.
Okay. Yeah, but other than our great Stephen Strange, I thought I really liked the ancient one.
Yeah, going in, I was not looking forward to a female ancient one. I was
True,
like,
I was
what?
scared as
I
well.
was like, it's not the the Ancient One that I've read about. It's not the Ancient One I've seen in other movies and things. And I thought Tilda Swinton did a really good job. And I really liked the character that she portrayed.
Yeah. Other than the Ancient One, I really liked Mordo.
Mordo, I really did enjoy as a villain. Yeah, I thought he.
Excuse me, a villain?
Well, become. I really like the way he became the villain. But I also like the way he was like his friend,
Yeah.
his mentor of sorts, his training partner, um, and his like yeah, I felt like his change at the end was a little like drastic but like I felt like it also flowed with who his character was very well. Like
Oh yeah.
when he found those when he thought something like he went for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when he was convinced that this was the right thing to do, he went for it.
Yeah, and I liked how when the Ancient One was revealed to be taken was pulling energy from the
Yep,
other
yep,
realm. I liked how he just like,
yeah,
well, I can't believe in you anymore.
yes.
So, yeah. Anything else about?
Um, Speaking of the ancient one, I thought that the scene in the astral plane between her and Steven there
Oh,
as she's dying. Such a good scene and has so many implications for things to come. Well, that was fabulous. And then, um,
what does that mean?
I mean, just like him using the astral plane and like going to a point in time that you cannot see past, right? That's what he does in Infinity Wars, right?
Sure. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that.
Oh, really? Oh, really?
I was not talking about Multiverse of Madness if that's what you think, okay? I promise.
Don't get me thinking some weird thoughts here, Rogue Gambit.
Um, Dormammu, I thought was fabulous. I thought the way he was defeated was really well done. Really enjoyed that. The one weak part was there was another kind of weak villain in Caecilius.
Oh, yes. Yes.
He was
Yes.
menacing, but he wasn't. He just felt like he didn't do much. He just like shows up, steals these things. He's clearly powerful, but then he's like kind of gets beat by a novice Doctor Strange.
Yeah. Well, so the thing is, Doctor Strange used more like his mind than what he actually knows of magic. I guess. Well, I guess that's kind of like he uses more his mind of like tricking Dormammu and stuff.
Right. He doesn't just like beat him in a straight magic versus magic, right? Like he couldn't do that. He almost died attempting that, right? But I don't know. I felt like he was a little weak. But aside from that,
Well, yeah, he used his weakness to defeat
right,
Dormammu.
used his weakness to his strength. Yes. Yeah. Anything else that you want to say about the movie?
Oh, I could say so much more about this
I
movie,
know.
but this isn't a movie review.
That's true. All right, now moving on to number 7, we have Far From Home.
Oh,
A lot of people put this as a weaker Marvel movie, one that they don't like as much.
really?
I understand people's critiques of it, and I don't think it's the best Spider-Man movie. As if you've been paying attention to our list, it happens to be my lowest ranked Spider-Man movie. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, so that does go play a part in this. But I think that it is a very solid movie. I think that there's the only real weak points are in the time that it spends with our characters traveling around, Europe and everything. I don't really have a problem with that because like you have to have that like humorous element to like foil the crazy adventures that Spider-Man's going on, or else it would feel very flat, especially with the Spider-Man character that's supposed to be humorous, right? I didn't mind it too much. I really liked the character development of Zendaya's character, Mary Jane. Or MJ. I mean, I'm sorry, her name is not Mary Jane, but
It's MJ. Come on.
MJ and her development with her relationship with Peter. I feel like they started having better chemistry. I felt like a lot of the storylines were good. Some of them were forced with like the teachers and stuff.
Mm.
The parts I didn't like were I did not like Nick Fury throughout the whole movie. And I
Well,
get that Nick
no.
Fury wasn't Nick Fury. But even if he's Talos, it just like I wouldn't I would have it didn't surprise me. Like the twist didn't surprise me because Nick Fury just felt so off the entire movie.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like
yeah.
Nick Fury's been kind of like a staple in the MCU for like I said earlier, like he was in Iron Man, right? He was in that end credit scene of Iron Man, and so to like do a character, that poor, and then just kind of like a cop out almost at the end of him not actually being Nick Fury, I wasn't a big fan of that storyline. But everything else I loved. Villain, amazing. Jake Gyllenhaal, such a great actor.
Oh, yes.
Mysterio, the take they chose on Mysterio, a villain that they completely changed his story from the comics. So good. The twist, I love that twist. You know it's coming. Like if you knew anything about who Mysterio was, you knew the twist was coming. You knew he was going to be the villain, but it was done in such a good way where like I just
You weren't expecting the
no,
way.
I was. I was expecting, like, I was just like, don't give him the glasses, don't do it. I didn't want him to, but you knew
Yeah,
that
like
was going to be the choice he made.
yeah, well, I was just like, so the thing is, in this movie, you get this sense, I got this sense at least, that Mysterio isn't just one guy. Like, it's multiple, it's like a group of people, which I kind of got that feeling of in this movie. So, yeah, it was like, it was so well done. Like, oh, so good. I loved the little moments that Spider-Man and Mysterio have of just talking and like, who are
Yes. Oh, I
you?
really like all the moments, yes, when they're together, Jake Gyllenhaal and Tom Holland, when they're in the same room talking, it is every one of them is just like movie candy. Like,
Yeah, it's so
um,
good.
and then, but the other thing I really like about the reveal is like it's a full reveal. Like it's not just it's a reveal of him being the villain. Like he starts high fiving everybody. They all start cheering. The whole background changes. You know that like they have been orchestrating everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
that whole the just the way they did it was so good. Of course, accompanied by an incredible music performance at that. Well, Les actually goes almost completely silent at the reveal, which is so fabulous. Um,
Well, yeah,
and
it's like a
then
tension, like, oh, what's
getting
happening?
to my favorite part of the whole movie, the final fight.
Oh,
I do not like CGI third acts. I've mentioned it before.
mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan of CGI third acts. Not a fan of the big CGI battles. They do such a good job with the whole thing is CGI. Just massive CGI monster. Looks so good. The battle with him swinging around inside of it. Wow. It looks so good. It was just absolutely beautiful. The movement that they gave him was so fluid. Like you could totally tell like so much of that was like practical and then the CGI parts were so beautiful it just seamlessly flew together. And um then the final part with
Okay. Okay, let's reel it back
Oh, okay.
in.
Go ahead. Go ahead. What
Let's
do you got?
reel it back in here. I think we've talked enough about it, about well, Far From Home, yes, great movie. Loved a lot of the scenes. I loved the big fight, the final fight scene. Loved the moments with Mysterio. I think we should move on where this isn't
All
a
right.
movie review.
Moving on to number 6, I've got Thor.
Thor.
This is another one that's probably put a lot higher than a lot of people would have put it. This was probably the first Marvel movie that I like when I watched it. I had watched only a couple at that time. Of course, it was one of the Phase One movies, but it was the first one that I absolutely loved from the instant I watched it. I loved Thor's character. Um, I really liked the cinematography. Um, I really liked the look of Asgard.
Yes.
You don't get to see it as much as you get to see it in future movies, but just the look of it, the palace, the grandeur, the beauty. What were your thoughts
I
initially?
really like it because Loki, of course. Great. The way he is in that movie, so good. And how he's just like deceiving Thor throughout the entire movie.
Yeah, I think it like sets up their relationship really well, where Thor is so trusting every time and that just sets up what you're gonna see in more and more movies with them. He's gonna trust him, and he's gonna get burned for it, you know. But I love Loki's like commitment to what he thought was right
Yeah.
all the way to the end. Like he was willing to literally let go because he thought what he did was right. He thought he should have been king. Yes, he had his own nefarious desires, but like that was what he wanted. He wanted to be king. He thought he should be king. He thought he would be a better king, and that's why he chose what he chose to do. And I really like that he doesn't compromise at all in that. Like he is a villain through and through, but he's willing to act like a hero to get what
Yeah.
he needs.
Yeah. Yeah. I also like, while yes, I don't like how the destroyer is, how much we see of the destroyer and all that. I like the way, um, basically Loki is the one using the destroyer to end Thor.
Hmm. Yeah, I really like a lot of things in that third act. The Destroyer is not one of them. Not a big fan of the Destroyer as well. He was kind of, but yeah, he was kind of a mindless beast, you know. And I'm not a big fan of those type of characters, especially as like villains. But they weren't he wasn't the main villain or anything. He was just a tool
Yeah,
that Loki was
exactly.
using. Um, and then I also like how it's set up, kind of like this, the realms, the Jotunheim, all that. I thought
Mm.
it did a really good job with that. I love how it sets up his character too. Like from the instant you see him, like Thor is a very specific way, right? Like he's this arrogant. He's like, I'm Thor. Like I don't know. I really like how his character is so set, and then the drastic change that it has to go through. Like there's very few movies where I think this is why I like it so much. Is there's very few movies where when it sets up that I'm going to sacrifice my life for something, it's really hard to set up a character nowadays that is so one way you really don't think they would do that, right?
Yeah.
Like so many times they're trying to make them the good person that so you're the whole time you're like, yeah, he's already a character that would lay down his life for somebody. But like they did such a good job of like he won it. Like he thinks he can just win everything. He thinks he's good enough to always come out on top. He doesn't have to sacrifice himself ever because he's just too good. But they set up this character that isn't going to sacrifice himself and then has to learn to love somebody not for who he is, but for who they are. And then he's willing to like lay down his life.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know. I think they do a fabulous job at that. And that is why I have it ranked at number 6. Should we move on or
Let's
more?
let's move on again.
Yes,
Go
we will be
on.
talking a lot in these next couple of movies because it is time to go into the top 5.
Well, let's do this. This is gonna be
Alrighty.
interesting.
Like I've said before, you know the movies that are in there. You just don't know the order I'm going to put them in. And we're going to start out at number 5 with our next Spider-Man movie,
Oh,
Homecoming.
such a good movie. Such a good way the villain is. Like the way the villain is in that movie, so good. The way Spider-Man is in that movie, so good. um, like oh,
Yeah, this may have been the movie of every movie I've ever gone to that I went into with the highest hopes and the lowest expectations. I, as I've said, love Spider-Man. I went into that movie just like, what, another Spider-Man reboot? Like, and not only that, we're getting Tom Holland. Who the heck is Tom Holland? Like, I had such low expectations. I was just ready to be crushed. Go watch another boring Spider-Man movie. Wishing I could have seen something much better, but no, that is not what we got at all. Tom Holland's performance from the instant you see him, like,
Well, here's the thing: we first see him in Civil War.
yes, you first see him in Civil War, but you don't really get a taste of who he is. Like, all you see him
Exactly.
is as Spider-Man. Yeah, you got to see quippy humor a little bit, but nothing really. I personally didn't like him in Civil War. Okay,
Yeah, well,
I
that's
wasn't
totally
a big fan of him
understandable.
in Civil War.
It was his first time being as Spider-Man in that.
But I love him in Civil War now. After seeing him, like seeing who he is, seeing the choices he makes and like the reasons he makes them and like actually like feeling them, not just being like in Civil War he just kind of like tells you why he does what he does, right?
Yeah.
But now you get to like feel it as him. They do that street level like on your level making you as just a citizen feel who he is so well. Um like I don't know. Never lived in New York, but man, I felt like a New Yorker watching. It's just like oh, they do such a good job of setting up that street level hero, and then going into the villain. Oh my goodness,
Oh,
Michael Keaton, absolutely fabulous job of playing
yes.
that villain. Once again, from the instant you see him, they set him up so well as like this guy who's just trying to get by, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then gets crushed by the government or DDO. What did they
Yeah,
call
whatever it was, I forget.
Damage control. And like he sees an opportunity and he takes it. And that's just what he keeps doing. He's just trying to get by. Every time he sees that opportunity, he takes it. And then that just and once again, it's a villain just like Mysterio that is so different from the comics. So different than Adrian Toomes in the comics. Um, so different than he has ever been in any TV show, movie since. Um, but they just play on that like, street level neighborhood feel that just makes him so menacing. And
Oh,
then that just culminates in maybe my favorite MCU scene in the car
oh yeah.
driving to Homecoming.
Which in my personal opinion, probably the best way for a villain to unmask Spider-Man.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Spider-Man has been unmasked by villains countless times. But yes, that scene and him figuring out, him realizing it's just a kid. It's speechless. I am absolutely speechless. Like the acting performance of Michael Keaton, the acting performance of Tom Holland in that, like you could see it in their faces as they're figuring it out. You could see them like the distraughtness, that's not even a word, of Peter Parker. Just like I just got found out. And then the just realization
Yeah,
on
just
Adrian
oh,
Toone's face. And oh my goodness.
so good. I'm just like good old Spider-Man.
Oh, yes. Chills. And then side characters I thought did good. There was definitely some weaker ones
Yeah,
in
like
this. I definitely think the chemistry of like the trio definitely gets better as they go on. Of course, they don't really know MJ at this point.
yeah.
But like wasn't really a big fan. I was really disappointed in her compared to where she was at the other in the other movies, but wasn't terrible.
Oh
Wasn't
yeah, yeah,
terrible.
yeah. Like this is our first time seeing.
Yeah, but oh, I was
Now,
I love it. Love Spider-Man in it. Love almost all the acting. Like the relationship with Tony Stark we get to see. I really liked Aunt May actually. That was another thing I was not looking forward to.
I
It was a
was
young Aunt May.
yeah, like that was
Um,
scary to see.
but I think they did a really good job with it. About as good as they could have with a young Aunt May. I definitely still prefer an older Aunt May,
Mm-hmm.
but with what they decided to go with, I think they did do the best job.
Yeah, yeah, I absolutely agree. Let's.
Oh wait, one last thing. Of course, I have to mention soundtracks. Of course,
Oh yes.
absolutely love Spider-Man's theme. Um, the score done by the same guy who did all of them, I believe.
Hey, Oh.
But yeah, I just really like his theme. I absolutely love the music of the final fight scene.
Oh,
Didn't even talk about the final fight scene. That thing's beautiful.
yeah, and it was crazy that they were fighting up in the sky, and Spider-Man's like,
Mhm.
"All I've got are webs."
Yeah. Anyways, all right. Yes. Moving on.
Let's move
moving
on.
on.
So we
Still
don't-
got 4 movies to
Yeah.
go.
We are, and again, we're not reviewing these movies. We've got to stay on track here.
All right. Moving on to number 4. Nitty gritty here. All right. These 4 movies are separated by so little. I just want to put that out there. This was not easy to rank these 4 movies. These 4 movies are some of my favorite movies
Oh,
I
they're
have
so good.
ever watched. But I'm gonna try and rank them. Number 4, I have in Avengers Endgame.
Ah, yes, the story where we see our heroes trying to bring back trying to fix their failure.
Yes,
And
I feel like you cannot talk about this movie without Infinity Wars.
yes.
So I have Infinity Wars ranked number 3. So I'm gonna talk about them together. And I give you cry.
Don't worry, I'm gonna tear up as well.
All right. So why is Infinity Wars ahead of Endgame? It is maybe the only movie, especially superhero movie, where you see the heroes fail.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, like we see these heroes go, they win battle after battle, and then we just see them fail. Is just so heart-wrenching. Like we see Iron Man try so hard to defeat Thanos and just fails so horribly. Um and then we just see how near the end there's just nothing that can be done for our heroes. Like,
All of that for a drop of blood.
oh, such a good scene and yet such a tearful scene because we know what's coming. Like, you're watching this whole movie and you're like, there's a lot of moments where you actually think the heroes are going to win. Like, oh my goodness. And then let's also talk about moving off of, let's really fast move off of, the great loss that these heroes have, and let's talk about something very positive about this movie, very good: the entrance Captain America has.
All right. I think maybe want to, I don't know, let's talk about Endgame first.
Oh yes, that's
We
right,
do
that's right.
technically have Infinity Wars ranked Endgame.
It's just so good, we can't like not.
But, I do want to say another thing that, so another thing Endgame has going for it, but also, maybe puts it below Infinity Wars, in my opinion, is it does start the trend of having very quick first acts. Of course, we had Infinity Wars, which is basically a whole first act.
Oh yeah.
But it starts this trend that they then continue in a lot of their movies going forward, where they go find Thanos, chop his head off, and that was all done really quickly, right? And then we
Mhm.
get into, all right, now how are we gonna go back and fix this? Um, so I think that yes, it was the first one, and I don't know. I think the only part of me that doesn't like that is the fact that it influenced so many movies going forward that really needed longer first acts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but
Yeah.
that aside, I think it did really well in that movie. I really liked the, I don't know, dichotomy. I don't know if that's the right word, between the two Thanoses that you see, right?
Oh yes.
Like how different Thanos was. He was truly the Mad Titan, right? At the one point, and they end up fighting him at the end, right? Who they fight at the end is so different than who they fought in Infinity Wars.
Mhm.
I think they did a really good job with that, setting them just polar opposite characters, and like I don't know, makes the character arc of Thanos so much better.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So good. Like, and not only that, we don't even meet Thanos in Endgame till like so much later down the
after
movie.
after they kill him, you don't meet him until you see coming to well, you see Gamora.
Yeah,
All that. And then I think it's also so good because of the uh impact of Infinity Wars and just how at any moment you thought someone could die.
yeah, like yeah, it's like the whole time you have, because not only that, not during the whole moment of them going back in time trying to gather the stones, trying to get all this, especially on the final fight scene. So hard, you're just watching and you're like on the edge of your seat, like ready to like, who's gonna win, who's gonna die, who's gonna do this, what's happening.
Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know, that's all I kind of have to say. The final fight is beautiful. Another CGI mess that is just gorgeous.
Oh yes. And possibly my favorite scene, in the whole MCU, possibly. I could be wrong. I might be missing a Marvel scene that I really like, but I love the scene where Captain America is standing there, has his broken shield and Mjolnir, just standing there, and he's just looking at Thanos and this giant army.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, definitely one of my favorite shots.
Yeah.
Just beautiful, so well done. Another great soundtrack by Alan Silvestri again. All right, Infinity Wars. Yes, going back to where you were on.
Yeah,
Captain America's entrance. Yeah, just like every entrance in that, every entrance of a character in the movie is so good.
Yeah, it is just so amazing. But then, see, I think that like it balances it out kind of nicely because we have all these great entrances for our heroes, and then they just turn it around on you. They give you that.
And then not only like the entrances, but like each entrance is so like built up, so but then also so like amazing in its own right, that they were able to like have character arcs for all of them, where you have Captain America who doesn't waver.
He doesn't waver. He's on his mission. I want to say, like, he's on his mission.
He's not willing to trade lives. Like that's who he is.
Yeah,
who he's been since Captain America, the first Avenger.
Yeah, and he comes to save Vision and Wanda. He comes to the aid of. He comes to War Machine. He comes to Wakanda. He's just there to fight and save the people he can. Like, it's amazing.
And then my favorite character arc, Thor.
Yes. Thor, like, we see him at the very first scene.
And you see him broken,
floating in space. And
yeah, coming off Thor Ragnarok, like, I had low expectations for Thor.
It's so good because you see it, like, you just came from a movie where he's like this kind of this, not like, he is broken down. He was broken down in the previous movie, but he's kind of got to this position of being king. He's gotten to this position.
He became king. He became insanely powerful, but he now is facing a threat he can't fight.
He's
useless against.
He cannot defeat him, and you see him like trying to fight again. He's just like trying to contend with that in the whole, when he's with the Guardians, and
right, and so now he like has to find something powerful enough to fight this unstoppable, inevitable force.
Yeah, and
and you get his second entrance.
Oh,
that's maybe my favorite entrance of all of them, when he comes in at Wakanda,
and it's just like, bring me Thanos.
Yes, though it is a little diminished by Mark Ruffalo's line, but we don't need to get into that.
Yeah,
it is amazing, beautiful. The soundtrack, so good.
The soundtrack is so good, and then the whole final scene where he just throws Stormbreaker.
Stormbreaker. A little bit much, but
Yeah, he just throws Stormbreaker, and he's like,
and you think they won?
yeah, and it's just
I told you I was gonna kill you for that.
you should have gone for the head.
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
We should probably move off this movie before more tears are shed.
All right. Moving on to number 2.
No
This-
Way Home.
Yeah, this was tough. This was tough not to put this movie number 1.
Yeah.
But
Well, let me just say this. You guys probably know what's number one right now.
y'all know what number 1 is, but this is why I couldn't put No Way Home at number 1. It's not like a recency bias, but it is that it hasn't been tested. Like, I haven't been able to go back and watch this years later after other movies have come out.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And that's why it's not number 1. But we're not talking about number 1, we're talking about number 2. Number 2, No Way Home. It is an absolute insane movie. Insanely good movie. Bringing all okay, so like we just talked about 2 movies where they brought insane amounts of heroes together and did it almost seamlessly. Yes, they made mistakes here and there, but so well done. We got another movie right here where they're bringing in multiple of our favorite characters. Maybe my favorite character. Just absolutely insane. We've taught you, if you listen to our other podcasts, you've heard us talk about this movie a ton. So we're going to try and keep it a little shorter. But yeah, it is fantastic. Villains, amazing. Acting, incredible. Everybody does a fabulous job. The chemistry between MJ, Peter Parker, are just finally all coming together. The chemistry of all the Spider-Men just like so seamlessly, like they just go into it. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, and as we said before in our first episode, the acting in it is amazing.
Second to none.
Yeah, it's so good, and like Jamie Foxx, Willem Dafoe, as I tried to say his name right. So good, and Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, so good. Yeah, and the story was amazing, and while yes, it does do the whole first act quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I still felt like
it did a fabulous job of it. Like, I don't feel like the first act necessarily needed to be longer. Like, it
did it the way as if you were going into this movie as if right after watching Far From Home.
Yeah. And don't of course forget Alfred Molina's acting performance.
Oh yes,
so good. First villain you see, and oh my goodness. And then all the way going into like the final scene, the final fight, just fabulous. Oh my goodness. I was literally listening to the soundtrack today. It's such a good soundtrack. Just uses Spider-Man's theme, so all the Spider-Man's themes, tweaks them in their own way, and just like, I don't know.
Yeah, like
just helps everything to come together so well.
Yeah, and another great thing about this movie is how little we see of Green Goblin at the beginning.
Oh my goodness, yeah, they tease him, you don't see him, then
you hear like Otto Octavius being like, he shouldn't be there, like he should not be alive.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah. We can
there's not much more we can say about this that we haven't said, and of course, we Review podcast will be releasing its first episode this week. Hopefully it'll be out on Friday night, and you will have a full review of the movie.
Yeah. So keep your eyes open for that.
All right, but now moving to our number 1.
Yep.
My favorite movie ever since the instant I watched it.
You know it. You've heard it.
Captain America, Winter Soldier.
Oh, so good. And so I recently I just watched a scene and I realized how good each fighting scene in it,
oh my goodness,
with little talking, very little talking, was so good. Like, oh man.
I mean, yeah, a villain that like we met as a hero before really it hasn't been done.
Yeah.
Like at least to the extent they did it in this. Yes, we don't see a ton of James Buchanan Barnes in the first one. He dies, but we have seen him as his friend, and then again, like they don't reveal it right away who it is in the movie. But if you
But
know
you have
if you're a fan of
if you're
if you're a fan of Captain America or Winter Soldier in any way, you knew exactly who that was.
yeah,
And
but
going in, I am a huge Winter Soldier fan, and going in, of course, I knew exactly who it was by the title. Like the instant you see him, I knew who he was. But this is what the movie just does so well. The soundtrack builds. The soundtrack builds dread. The soundtrack builds suspense. The soundtrack builds uh, to these specific points, and that's exactly what the story does. The story of this of Captain America, right? It's just building to a climax that you know is coming, and that climax was this reveal that if you knew who Winter Soldier was, you knew what that reveal was going to be, but it still hit like a ton of bricks.
oh,
Like
it was so good.
that reveal. Oh my goodness, you felt it
Now,
in every fiber of your being, and I think it is such a huge part to Henry Jackman's soundtrack. That soundtrack, when it starts that whine,
oh,
when you know Winter Soldier is going to be coming, and it is like dark. Like the movie is dark, but like the soundtrack is so dark. Like if you listen to it, I've listened to the soundtrack more times than I can count. I've watched this movie I think 12 times. And I've listened to the soundtrack countless times. And I can literally picture in my head every scene. Gecko
Yeah.
Man knows. He's seen me act it out.
He will act it out, and he will just play every scene in motion in time with the soundtrack.
But
It's
that's what
amazing.
makes the sound. That's why the soundtrack is so good. It's because you can do that. The timing of that soundtrack in time with the movie is so seamless.
If you
like-
thought Wrath of Man was good, now
Oh.
come on.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Raphael soundtrack is incredible, but we're not talking
yeah,
about
we're not talking about that. Let's
the timing of the soundtrack to the timing of the movie is just so on point to where even like my favorite Marvel scene of any Marvel scene, the fight on the road between Winter Soldier and Captain America, the soundtrack like literally hits as the hits are hitting, if that makes any sense. You have to like listen to the sound, like actually listen to the soundtrack during that scene because each blow is emphasized by the soundtrack. Every timing of that is one of the most impressive fight scenes choreography wise I've ever seen. But this scene is so well done with the soundtrack, then that's why it's like my favorite MCU scene. And then the story of Winter Soldier is just incredible. Love his character, the character arc of him, trying to fight something that is literally controlling him. And then you have Captain America, who, once again, won't give up his morals.
yeah.
He won't kill.
Yeah, like
He won't kill Bucky to get his end.
yeah.
Right?
He won't kill. Like in that final
He's not going to trade lives.
In that final fight, he's just taking hit after hit and just saying, I'm with you till the end of the line. Yeah.
Man down. That's the end of the lines here, boy. No, like, yeah. He's not. And then, of course, picking Robert Redford, like, for that role. So good. And then the actual twist I did not see coming with Alexander Pierce being evil.
Oh,
I should have seen
yeah.
that coming. I should have seen that coming from a mile away. If I call myself a movie buff anyway. I should have seen that coming. But once again, the story is so so intense. That's the word I've been looking for. It is so intense that I didn't have time to try to figure that twist out, and then it just hit me with it. But anyways, the other thing it does incredibly well, it puts it far and away above any other MCU movie. Even though these are all MCU movies I love, and it's top 5, they're literally 5 of my favorite movies of all time. Is its exposition dumps are hidden so well, because there are some massive exposition dumps, and I hate exposition dumps in movies. Literally, some of my favorite movies have almost no talking in them, because I feel like movies should be a visual, something you see visually. They shouldn't have to tell you things audially. They shouldn't act like you're a stupid audience member and they have to tell you things. But there was a lot of exposition that had to be done in this movie. And they hit it so well with the suspense. They would build up so much suspense that then when they put these exposition dumps, you were so worried about what was happening that you weren't worried about this Artem Zolo talking for 8 minutes, I think.
Yeah, he talks for a long time.
I literally didn't even notice that exposition dump. I didn't even think of that scene as just literally a scene of exposition until my fifth or sixth time watching the movie.
It's so well done.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I didn't even feel like 8 minutes.
Yeah. It's incredible. Every aspect of the movie is incredible. We will do a movie review of this movie. Yeah, and maybe the longest movie review you'll ever listen to, but we will do it. And yeah, we'll go into it more detail there. Anything else you want to add to this?
Well, I think not, because if we continue on, we're gonna go on for hours and hours.
So that wraps it up for our MCU ranking of all 32 movies and TV shows. I think we should do a quick countdown of our top 10 just so everyone's got it out there. We had at number 10, Captain America, the First Avenger.
You're forgetting already?
At number 9, we had Avengers. Number 8, we had Doctor Strange. Number 7, we had Spider-Man Far From Home. Number 6, we had Thor. Number 5, we had Spider-Man Homecoming. Number 4, we had Avengers Endgame. Number 3, we had Avengers Infinity War. Number 2, we had Spider-Man No Way Home. And number 1, Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
And that's our top 10. Let's move on to the Book of Boba Fett.
Alrighty, episode 6. What'd you think?
Oh. Well, to say what I didn't like about the episode was there was a lot of stuff that was unnecessary.
Yes, they tried to tell a lot of stories there, get a lot of stuff going, set up season 3 of The Mandalorian a lot. So
yeah, as well as it was more like Mandalorian than Boba Fett.
I don't care.
True.
I've been sick of Boba Fett since episode 1.
True. Boba Fett has been a disappointment for us, at least. And not only that, Boba Fett was only in one scene in the entire episode, and he didn't say anything.
Yeah, I thought he did some of the best acting I've seen.
I felt like the scene where they blow up the cantina was unnecessary.
I disagree. I think that we've needed to have a clear villains doing villainous things, and they haven't had that really. It's just been syndicates arguing with each other and all that jazz. And now we finally have they did something, they finally struck a blow, and it's time to get this thing started.
Okay, I see. Yeah, but well, there was they didn't really give us a reason why they needed to blow it up. I guess it's because
sending a message.
Okay, I see what you're saying there. Why don't we talk about possibly my favorite
elephant in the room?
Yeah, the elephant in the room. My favorite scene in the whole episode, in the whole show. Cad Bane.
He's actually a character, not a episode or a scene.
You know what I mean?
All right, what'd you think of their live action depiction of such a well known animated character?
Well, My expectations were very high of him. Like they probably were too high for like it to actually be good because what I wanted didn't really necessarily mean it's what I expected. Cad Bane definitely seemed like how I was expecting him to look like, except for maybe the fact that he was angry. Maybe like he
Definitely had more of a angry expression than he does in the animated depictions. But I thought he looked pretty darn good.
oh yeah. I mean, oh, man, just a little shootout right there. It was
Pretty classic.
it was the Cad Bane style right there. um, but yeah, like I don't want to go deeper into this. I could talk about that scene so much.
What do you have any expectations for for episode 7? Do you think Cad Bane will show up again? Do you think he's gonna be like the Darth Vader to Boba Fett's Luke?
Really? Like Luke Skywalker in Boba Fett is going to be fighting Cad Bane?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying
Boba Fett fighting Cad Bane?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought you were saying. No, yeah. So I think yes, because there is history between the two. And this is me kind of going off track here. I want to say this real fast and let it be known that actually Cad Bane mentored Boba Fett.
Say what now?
he mentored Boba Fett, which gives more of a deeper connection to the two.
All right, that's interesting. I did not know that. All right, are you thinking that Grogu will take the lightsaber or the Vespa?
Bespar?
Vespa.
Beskar.
Beskar.
Your knowledge on Star Wars humors me.
Your knowledge on Star Wars humors me.
So I think I'm gonna guess he's gonna take the Beskar, and because it's whatever.
No,
It's
I understand. Okay. Do you think that any characters other than just the people that we know are going to be fighting with Boba Fett will show up? Or do you think they'll be going out to get anybody else? Maybe some Jawas will show up.
with their giant skull on there.
Yep.
No. Maybe Tuscans.
Okay.
Which I highly doubt because he was only with that one tribe.
Right.
But I would expect that maybe the marshal isn't dead
Yeah, I think the Marshal will.
because I rewatched that scene like right after we finished the episode,
Okay.
and I noticed the shot hit his shoulder more.
Right. Yeah, I definitely think he's alive, kicking,
Yeah,
and we'll fight. All right.
as well as that one guy standing up. But yeah.
Anything else?
No, I think we should probably get off before I go a little Star Wars crazy over here.
All right. Then let's move into upcoming things. You got any upcoming Star Wars?
Nothing new, but I do have some new information on our upcoming. So we all know that Andor is coming summer of 2022. The thing about that is it's actually it's a speculation. It's like what everybody's thinking that could be coming out. Obi-Wan Kenobi is coming out, I believe, because everybody is saying that it's coming out in spring, but everybody's thinking that it's going to be coming out on May 4th.
May the Fourth be with you.
Yeah, exactly. As well as we know the set timeline of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
When is it? Oh yeah, isn't it like old times? He's like a little kid.
No. It is 10 years after the duel with Anakin Skywalker.
Okay. So he's just hanging out with the Tuskens.
Yeah,
More
exactly.
Tusken hanging out. All right. I enjoyed that so much in Boba Fett. I'm sure it will be fantastic.
Well, yeah, like I don't know about you, but I'm tired of going back. Like I just want to see the galaxy move forward.
I agree. Stop trying to play on what the fans already know was good. Create something new already.
But at the same time, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi. There might be something good in this show. Who knows? But here's some good news. We are getting Mandalorian season 3. I believe this is again another speculation of like when it's coming out. Winter of 2022.
2023?
2022.
Like within the next month?
Winter.
This is the winter.
At the end of this year. Like Boba Fett time.
Like
of when,
December.
yeah, in December.
Okay, gotcha.
And then nothing new about the Bad Batch other than it's season 2.
Sucks.
I can't say no to that.
Alrighty. Well, do you have Morbius news?
So I haven't seen anything new on trailers, but I have seen a clip on Morbius.
Okay. What'd you think?
What did I think? For Morbius, animation, not animation.
CGI.
CGI. Thank you. CGI might have been bad. I may need to rewatch the clip just to look at it again. But
Okay. Expectations for it then are kind of low still.
actually, my expectations kind of rose after seeing the clip.
Okay.
So
Very cool. All right. Well, for other Marvel, there's not a whole lot new to talk about. Maybe just some speculation that I have. So Moon Knight's still coming out March 30th. Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness still coming out in May. She-Hulk still we don't know when it's gonna come out. Thor Love and Thunder's July. I Am Groot, we still not sure, but it'll probably be August. Miss Marvel early fall. And then I forgot last time to mention in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse will be coming out in October.
oh yeah.
Pretty excited about that. Werewolf by Night will be coming out, I'm guessing, on Halloween. I'm not 100% sure. They haven't released a date, but that would be my guess. And a little something based on the Moon Knight trailers. I haven't decided if the figure you see there is Werewolf by Night, but it could be, and that could be a little start to the whole supernatural element to the MCU that I would be very in for. Wakanda Forever coming out in November. We talked about. Now I do have a few speculation about that one. I do think that Namor could be the villain of that. Atlantis could be introduced, which would be fun.
We haven't had really any like water related heroes.
Water related heroes are known.
That sounds kind of weird, but yeah.
Yeah, we haven't really had any. I do think that with the Eternal or whatever breaking through the Earth crust could be a good way to introduce Atlantis being like, hey guys, the water belongs to us, stop destroying the Earth. And Namor is very much the type that's like, holds a grudge against the world, you might say. He's not necessarily a villain, he's more of an anti-hero where he's just like, the Earth belongs to Atlanteans and you guys are just destroying it and I will kill you for it. So he's kind of I do think he could really fit in the MCU pretty well and be a good villain. And then Secret Invasion, we don't have a release date for yet. Spider-Man freshman year, we don't have a release date for. The Marvels, I'm guessing it's going to get moved back since they just said they were again reshooting a bunch of Miss Marvel stuff. And then What If Season 2, we don't have a release date for. So that's all I got.
So have you seen any new news on the multiverse?
Not really. I mean, they released the synopsis, which didn't tell us anything we didn't already know.
Okay. Well then I guess that's all I have for that.
I do think I think I need to look at a trailer for She-Hulk might have come out that I missed, but that's the only thing I think I might have missed. Alrighty. Upcoming for Back and Forth. Do you want to tell them what we'll be doing next week?
Next week. Well, first off, let's say what's coming out this week.
This week, yes.
So this week we're coming out possibly on Friday, maybe Saturday, depending on what happens. We're going to be coming out with a movie review, our movie review podcast. I don't know how many times I have to say it to get it out, but yes.
Back and Forth Movie Review, episode 1 will be on
No Way Home.
Yes. We'll be releasing our full review of No Way Home. And then what will episode 4 of Back and Forth entail?
So we're gonna be doing the same thing that we did these episodes of ranking Star Wars movies.
All Star Wars movies, and what else? Anything else?
And Star Wars shows.
And shows. All right.
And
so Geckoman, being the resident Star Wars expert, will be doing that, and I will be giving my own opinion of some of them.
On the ones you watched.
On the ones that I've seen. On The Bad Batch, I will try to hold back from... Yes. Critiquing it too harshly. But, all right.
All right.
See y'all next week.
And don't put yourselves inside a box.